CT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
If you recently submitted a claim to the National Insurance Corporation, you also need to submit your financial account information to get paid. All NIC benefit claims are now paid conveniently through your local financial institution. To provide your bank or credit union account information, simply log on to the NIC website at www.stlucianic.org. Click the Financial Account Information tab and fill out the form. It's that easy. You only submit once. Ensure you enter the details of an open active account in your name. If you do not have access to information form, help us to help you. NIC, for the benefit of us all.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosile Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
From our home to yours, MBC Real FM family wishes you a joyful Christmas. Thank you. Watch MBC for your favorite Christmas movies and programs and tune into Real FM for your shot at winning fabulous prizes.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Another wonderful Friday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and producer, alongside Jaquan Joseph, our technical operator, and I have a co-host today. I'm sure those of you who are following us on the TV and on Facebook Live, as well as YouTube live streaming, you can see who he is. So, you know, the fugitive has decided that it is a lot better to turn himself in and don't make me have to come looking for him, you know. So he's reported himself to the station. That's why it's called a station, you know. Real FM radio station coming to you on the dual frequencies of 91.3 North and 91.5 South. We simulcast on NBC Television, our sister station, all part of the McDowell Broadcasting Corporation. And they're on channel 120 if you're using the Flow Cable TV service. And we're also on Facebook Live as well as on YouTube live streaming. This is our final program for the week. And let me tell you, next week is going to be our final 4 days of programming for the year. Our last program will be on Thursday, the 12th of December. From December 13th, National Day, we'll be out of here until, pretty much the end of the first week of January. Around the 10th or thereabout, we are going to resume. I heard Honorable Richard Frederick last night on his program, Can I Help You? Also announced that next week, Thursday, will be his final one for the year as well. Okay, so I hope you've been having a good day so far. It's looking like one of those days that you can make a very good one out of it. the days are not in and of themselves good, but we can make it good. This morning I was kind of surprised about the amount of rain that came, and I'm thinking, hey, we're talking about the 6th of December, and it was quite a substantial and lengthy, prolonged, shower of rain that came down. And this is all telling us that we can take nothing for granted. And I thought, my goodness, hey, people are complaining about the state of the West Coast Road just when they're trying to do something about it. And look at when Caltela Plisa, Kadesan, Bomatia, oh boy, I tell you, it was some rain. I went to a parking lot, paid parking. I try to go down. Life is funny. I'm leaving home about 7 to make sure I'll make it to the boulevard because I need to go to the bank and get some business done. And I'm going to get a parking space. A lady who almost never says anything to me beyond, she's a pleasant person, Good morning, hi, how are you? How's your husband? Whatever her husband has told me, he's quite a fan of this program, but our conversations are very brief. This morning she decided she wanted to have a discussion with me about something she'd heard on the program and how it related to her own experience. And we stopped. And before I said, my goodness, there goes my plan to be on the boulevard early, because once you reach 7:15 to 7:30, you're not getting parking there anymore. So by the time I left, it was already 7:30. But, I enjoyed the conversation with her. It's very rare to find her in such a, chatty mood and so on. And she was giving me a little experience she had, where she heard me talking about a certain chef. Well, one of those people who serve food, the beach vendor, that I considered to have been very, very good in his hygiene. And she related that to her experience with that vendor, she thought, but it was actually another person who had a similar name or similar sounding name, because the person I was talking about, I got a message not too long after which said that he passed away some years ago. So, she had some experience where she ate and both she and her spouse ended up, she said, getting a severe case of food poisoning. Now, sometimes, I pointed out to her that the principal person in the business a lot of the times is the professional, is the person who really knows, their stuff, who really, knows what they're doing and they're good at it over many years. You bring people to work for you, they don't have the formal training, but they don't follow your instructions. They don't do things according to the manner that you tell them to do. They make shortcuts. And it's something I find in workplaces now. It's as if people come to work for them to go home. They come to work, and from the time they come is a matter of, they busting up their face and they're making themselves, it's home. Time for them to go home, You find people, whether they're working at banks, if it was not for the security that's there, it's like they already want minutes to 4, 2, whatever time for the door to be closing. Some people at the post office, like they don't enjoy their work, like they came to work so that they can go home. And I'm saying, what's the matter? Some people, their face is always tied up and that sort of thing. And I say, whoa. What is wrong with people now? It's like you pick up a book to read. And that happened to me once when I decided I was going to read through the Bible, I read certain places and I wonder, that's taking me so long. When am I going to finish? Until at one point I reached and I said, why are you reading the Bible? To finish it. It's like you're reading it to finish it, and you're getting frustrated because you set up a program to read through the Bible in a year or whatever, and you're seeing the year finishing and you have so much to go. Man, just enjoy the book. Immerse yourself in it. When you can read it, enjoy it and so on. And I used to reach on certain books that used to frustrate me even more, because you find they're so repetitive. They're so, you wonder, it's tedious and all of that. One of them is Leviticus. I reach in Leviticus and every 2 words, no, I am the Lord. You must not do so and so. I am the Lord. And I say, what do you think is that, until one time I said, hey, that is the juiciest and nicest and most encouraging and most fortifying and strengthening thing. It's like when you go to the bank and take a loan, the people tell you read the thing, and every paragraph after you read it, initial it. Sometimes one long thing on insurance document, initial there, and do that, initial this page, and initial that page. They want you to put your sign and your seal of acknowledgement and approval on the contract. And I said, oh Lord, this is what Leviticus is. Everything about it, the good Almighty God is putting his imprimatur of certainty and telling you, you can take that to, well, bank is small, is nonsense, You can take that to eternity and to your life and to your grave if you want to, but I am the Lord. And you know what happened? Afterward, Leviticus. Yeah, we have a little freeze on the screen of the Facebook Live. I don't know now. After that, Leviticus became one of my favorite books, if not my favorite book. And I'm looking forward, after every 2 lines I read, for me to not read, but to hear it in my head. I am the Lord. And I just want to say, sometimes what seems to be tedious to us in life, I'm stuck in traffic. Sometimes I get angry, I get frustrated, and I say, okay, while you're waiting for the traffic, there are certain things you need to think through in your head and so on. This is the time to do it. I try not to get into the call thing and so on. But you do certain things to make the time pass and you do not get. So, while I was in that vehicle for a long time, of rain I didn't expect, I got to the bank, a little late. I saw homeless people ahead of me in the customer service area and so on. And I joked with a lady and I said, are you sure you got there before me? And amazingly, the lady was ahead of me. I was behind her. She decided to go and take a little something she needed to do, whatever. Look a little along with fears. She came afterwards. And she donated us place. She said, you can go ahead of me. I said, but why? She said, no, I prefer to go to this. Apparently she had a favorite with the tail. Somebody who had not seen her when he came and didn't know she was there before, when she got up for her turn, almost wanted to pull her off the chair because he felt that she had jumped the queue. I didn't say anything, but when I was leaving, I said, sir, I can give you the assurance she was there before you. Okay? She didn't jump the queue. He said, oh, I know. I don't know. And I said, so she went out to do something. And if a senior citizen goes out, they might want to use a bathroom or something, whatever. Don't get on with them. But coming back to the point that I was making, people, and maybe I should just leave that point and move on. There are 2 things I just wanted to, before I let Miguel do his thing, as I usually let Terry do his thing. Yesterday when I played that clip of the chamber president, Mr. Gardner, speaking about the lack of consultation and whatever and so on. I have 2 comments to make, and that doesn't apply specifically necessarily to Mr. Gardner. I notice there is a tendency, especially when the Labour Party is in office. When is the Alan Shastneys and even Compton? King is not that kind of person. King tends to be a person who will talk to everybody. But they're in the name of being decisive, and we have to do things, and somebody has to take the decision and move things forward. At some point, we hear you, everybody, but now it's time for Compton to say, look, this is the direction we're taking. People seem to, when the Labour Party is in office and Kenny Anthony, and I don't know if it's a bad habit they give them, that they consult and they want to always have this tripartite and this stakeholder consultation, that some people seem to mistake that for meaning that the position of government has been ceded, like it has been, abdicated, and so a prime minister must listen to them, It's not a matter of consulting and taking your advice and then I take a decision like, I must listen to you. If I don't listen to you, you're not listening. And there is a kind of T-boy, like I said yesterday, Kutemwe kind of thing. And people need to understand. And it is a thing where when the Labour Party is in office, people need to think that there are different governments and there's more than one government, and opposition behaves as if they governed when they were in government and they want to govern when they're in opposition. Now again, I'm not saying that in particular to what Mr. Gardner had to say. But I believe because the Labour Party has made itself open and transparent and embracing. One of the worst things I always felt Kenny Anthony did when he built his house, people were talking about a big house he have at Cul-de-sac, and Kenny Anthony gone and arrange a visit for the press to come and see his house, to see it's not the palace that it's been claimed. What the hell, that's your house, you built it your money, and had to say he didn't get it from government funds, look the paper of the mortgage he took to build the house. This is giving people bad habits. The thing they would never do with Compton, They would never do with Von Rys.
And even if they tried, Compton would never even take them on.
You understand? You'll never do it. But because Kenny Anthony came and had this kind of, in fact, so many people could never refer to him as Prime Minister. It's Kenny. They believe the same thing must come through, and they try to bully their way into making demands of things that are not really part of. People were inquiring whether Kenny went to see George Odlum when he was in hospital and this kind of thing. A man's decision who he goes and visits and so on and so on. That's not part of the prime ministerial, a roster and so on, that he must go. And then it became a whole talk about how he didn't go and see Odlum. And, one day a fellow met me and wanted to engage me about how Kenny don't know when last he went to see his mother. And I said, but how do you know that? I said, let me tell you. And in Cots, I remember the place well. The man met me in Cots, Marisil. And the man wants to come. I said, guys, let me tell you, this is the kind of conversation. Oh, but I play Tansa, Pisukasi Pote. Yeah. And I'm wondering,
And those who know Kenny Anthony know how much he adored his mother.
But regardless of that.
I mean, regardless of that,
You mean to tell me that is part of the public discourse and part of the public concern whether Kenny Anthony is, to use our Creole palace, a malhonnête, whether, he mal obligeant, whether he go in and see. I mean, come on, man. What the heck is this kind of foolishness? So, but the other thing I wanted to say about this video clip of Mr. Ross Gardner, I don't know if you all noticed, at one point the camera cut away, I think, unexpectedly from Mr. Gardner and went to so. And you should see who were the people there nodding their heads in agreement, drinking every word he said, especially on the matter where they felt he was being critical and thing there. You should see who they were. Don't fool yourself, with certain people. You all believe because they laugh and they smile and they come to official functions and so on that they have changed. They have not. There are certain people, like we have Labour people, loyal to a fault and so on. They're going to remain doggedly Flabo and they want to see Flabo win, even if they have all the misgivings about Alan Chasney. Maybe a majority of what he thought was his class did not vote for him. But there are some people, don't let them fool you. I am telling you, do not let them fool you. The final thing I'll say before I shut up and let Miguel talk. Haven't you noticed all the criticisms I and others make of the Millennium Highway, the Forever Road, and so on? You notice the Flabo, then, the only time they have said anything is when they were trying to pin it on Stevenson King. When Nancy and Guy were on the, how they call him, the lazy roller, the dead wit and everything like that. The moment it looked like this was not sticking and that the fault and blame for that delay and dragging on of that road did not lie at the foot of King or anything like that. You notice everything that's been said about Millennium Highway, all the dragging on. Have you heard anything from Flabo attacking or criticizing? Have you heard them taking apart C.O. Williams? Have you heard them taking apart the consultant, FDL Consult? Because I think C.O. Williams even wrote a letter that he had read where they said they were being frustrated by the consultant who was making so many impossible demands on them.
The name is Gilbert Fontenot.
FDL Consult, which stands for...
He's the principal.
Right, he's the principal, former chief engineer.
And he's the consultant.
I mean, why is it that you're not hearing them saying anything? They're not going after him. They're going after Timothy Antoine because he said favorable things about the direction St. Lucia's economy was going. They're going after anybody who tries to say a good word, and soon they'll go after the IMF.
So about to say that if they could go after the IMF, they would.
They're going to go after IMF. They're going to go after anybody who says anything good or does anything good for the government of St. Lucia. But you're not hearing them saying one thing about C.O. Williams, or about Gilbert Fontenot, the consultant, and so on. They're keeping quiet on that one. Now, I am not inviting or inciting them to attack anybody. I'm just saying, why is it you're on everybody's case when it seems to be Philip J. Pierre, his ministers, and so on? You're on their case for everything. But that Millennium Highway, that Forever Road, UWP has been curiously, surprisingly, and protractedly silent on what has been happening there. Miguel.
Okay, Shelton, good afternoon to everyone. Happy Friday to you all, and it's the Christmas season. My second, maybe 1B favorite time of the year after Carnival. Sheldon, there are two things you touched. I will address one. You have to remind me of the other because I got sidetracked listening to the rest of what you said.
Yeah, I'm sidetracked myself.
I will tackle first the issue you spoke about in terms of the nonsense that the EWP chooses to tackle. Right? And I think that is one of the things that contributes to the utterances you hear from people when they say the Labour Party is not responding to things. Because the United Workers' Party knows what they're doing. They'll throw all kinds of nonsense to try to distract you. We go back to Philip J. Pierre and him owning his BMW and having a house at Cap Estate. Right? What does that have to do with any of them? Guy Joseph has a house at Cap Estate. None of them is saying anything. Right? Things like that, and you have to make a decision, an intelligent decision as to whether you're going to respond to this nonsense or whether you're going to carry on doing the business of the country. And I think sometimes you have the expectation from Labour Party supporters themselves because the UWP drums it so much that there has to be a response. Now, on the flip side, look at the revelation made by Richard. Well, not only by Richard, it was there before. It was circulating before already. But Richard really made prominent last night in terms of the hotel bill in the UK.
Yeah.
You know, when Shastny was asked about it, his people were not asking about it, but when Shastny was asked about it, he gave this excuse about he paid the difference. And there we are now. We have the evidence which shows that he requested a refund for the full amount.
Yeah, but let me tell you, even if it is not the full amount, let's just say here is the real, how they call it, the gravamen of the issue. You know, the meat, the heart of the matter. This is what it is. Let us say the bills came to £10,000 a night. That's what it was. That's what the hotel charged. But St. Lucia will only pay up to £2,000 a night. And Shastny paid the other 8,000. That's not our business.
It isn't.
Your man is a rich man. He can pay $1 million. But the tab that reached the government of St. Lucia, which it was to settle according to what he said was the allocation. We don't care about the difference. The St. Lucia government, the treasury of St. Lucia was billed 2,100 and something pounds for how many nights of Shastny's stay. Yeah. We don't care whether it came to 5,000 and you paid the other 3. The fact is the tab that reached St. Lucia for the 6 nights. He said it wasn't 7, so let's say it was 6.
Right.
All right, 49,000, almost 50,000 EC dollars. You know, over a period of a week. If you take a week to be 7 days, let's say subtract 1, 6 days. We are saying this is excessive.
You know, half our population does not even make that per year salary. More than half our population.
Yeah, and it is part of a pattern. So we don't care about whether you paid. What is the tab that ended up in the lap of the treasury of St. Lucia, of which you were the Minister of Finance?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and so you look at that, you don't find much pressure being put on him for that, but they will put the pressure because it's been said before, the St. Lucia Labour Party has always been historically held to higher standards than the AWP. And you see it from the criticism,
especially by its own supporters.
Exactly, which is what I was coming to. You see the kind of criticism that's leveled at them, the expectations that's leveled at them by their supporters. And what saddens me is that half of it comes from people not understanding how particular processes work. And like the special prosecutor, for example, I heard a pressure being put on there, but then it has to be understood that the special, where I may agree that maybe the special prosecutor's office, it may be time to speak to the media and at least say, okay, here, give the assurance to the public that I am here and I am working, and I can not give any specific details to any matters at hand or on the investigation, but maybe there needs to be at least a statement from the office. But then at the same time, you have to understand the Prime Minister cannot put pressure on the special prosecutor's office because it's an independent body, just like the DPP's office. So this is where we're in a conundrum. We find a conundrum there from the executive part.
The exercise of undue influence.
Undue influence, and the Labour Party historically has not been one to assert any undue influence. To that level and magnitude that we saw with the last administration. Now, there's another thing that you mentioned. I think it was important. I wanted to get to, apart from the fact that
it was in chamber.
The chamber, right? Shelton, let's be blunt here and let's be straight. Ross Gardner, the names and faces that you see in the chamber. You look at the family history. You look at the political history. We look at.
Is it the son of Shamin?
Yes, it is. Okay. And we look at First National Bank, and we look at all those things, and it's no secret. St. Lucia is not as large as the United States. You know, we know the family ties in the political arena. We know that stances that they have taken in the past, it was as it relates to the chamber, from a chamber perspective, and maybe even other utterances. And I always have back to 2015 when the Ministry of Agriculture, led by Musa Jabatis at the time, they sought to increase the quota purchased of chicken, of local chicken purchased by places like Massey, KFC, all these. The chamber was against it. The chamber was against it.
And I understand that some local person or interest actually reported St. Lucia to the WTO.
Yes.
I think they claimed that we were engaging in unfair trading practices by trying to restrict or limit. I think it was 20%. They said, let us try to supply 20% of our chicken needs from locals.
It was 40. 40.
It was 40.
I think that the actual figure may have been about 20-25, and they're trying to increase it to 40%. Now we know why they would fight that, because it's cheaper to get their stuff from the US because it's days and months old. It's stuff with all kinds of steroids and all kinds of antibiotics and these kind of things.
Things that cannot pass inspection in the States
Exactly. Itself. But ironically,
you know who told me that? One of the biggest importers and owners of cold storage in St. Lucia, I wouldn't say the name now. We were conversational then. It was a long time ago. I think he was a friend of my father's. But the person is still alive. Told me, listen, we don't have so and so that you came to buy, because my father used to send me to town to buy boxes of cold things for him, because he had a shop in Denry. So, to supply, get one of his friends who has a van and so on, hire them to take it up and so on. And I do remember one of the different places that I went, because sometimes you get Brighton, sometimes you get, this place, that place, and so on, You have to go to different places. But one of them told me, we don't have so and so now, because most of the whatever product we get, and he mentioned the frozen stuff, it's either it's been rejected or it's been stolen. It's either some hijackers hijacked, a big container of that thing, and they take it and they sell it and they send it down there. So he broke on, I remember in Query told me, so, until the volley strikes again, we probably won't get it. Now, at the time, I thought he was just kicking off. Until later on, I learned that the man may have known what he was talking about, that a lot of these things go through a complex chain of illegality, of smuggling, of hijacking, of things that cannot pass inspection in the places of origin and so on. And they take them away. So I said, oh boy, I've never said to anybody, because, he was speaking off the cuff, and he told me, until the volley strikes again, we're not going to get it.
But the irony, Shelton, of that is that the then president of the Chamber of Commerce, who is also the managing director of Massey, not long after that, is talking about...
So Mr. Gardner is the managing director of Massey?
No, we're talking about Doville, Martin Doville at the time.
Okay.
That was, we talking about 2015.
Okay, all right, okay.
Gardner would be Carrasco and Sons.
Okay, right, okay.
Right? 2015, he comes out and he says, he basically says that the government, in his address to the chamber, saying that the government should put more into local investors and local businesses and more investors, more concessions, provide more incentives for them. So then I ask the question now, aren't the farmers local investors? Because all those policies that we're trying to put in place, apart from ensuring that our people get a healthy supply of foods, we decrease our food import bill. We're trying to help our local manufacturers, our local producers. So the chamber, as far as I'm concerned, the chamber is not in the best interest of the country. The country themselves, but their own. It's like an employers federation. That's all it is.
Okay.
It's just in the best interest of their own business and their bottom line, and of course the political party they support.
Okay. All right. We've reached 1 o'clock. Jaquan is giving me that look which says, you don't play with my money, and we won't either. Real issues will continue after this commercial break. Don't go away.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's ginger turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Get more with Courts Ready Finance. Shop with Courts Ready Finance for your chance to win $50,000 in cash. Plus win amazing prizes every week. Fast and easy application process. Quick approval. Fixed monthly installments. Insurance protection. Convenient. Apply online. Affordable payments. Fixed interest rates for easy budgeting. Courts Ready Finance. Ready when you are.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains and illnesses? When there's help for you, at Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into and staying with The Real Issues on this Friday. It is the 6th of December 2024. Someone sent me a message saying, Shelton, good morning. You know, I have heard you complain many times about certain places, especially the banks, and I never thought it was so bad. Well, yesterday I experienced it myself at, and she names the bank in VA4, where I went to do a transaction. I had to leave without the service done. I went in there and only 2 tellers were available, and they were very, very slow in attending to customers until I had to leave. Imagine a policeman was in front of a booth for more than half an hour and had to leave also. I was so upset, like it was ghosts who were inside there and they were not seeing us. And it's not the first time this has happened, and many people are complaining that bank. Awa, they really have to step up or else they will lose their customers. All right.
Which bank was that, sorry?
What's that?
Which bank was that?
Well, they mentioned.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah, but they mentioned the bank. You know, it's very difficult sometimes to complain about the slowness of service at banks. I understand with you when on a Friday where they know it's normally busy. I think this is the first Friday of the month of December. You know, I mean, the first Friday.
Second.
Yeah, it's not the second. Sunday was the first.
Oh, Sunday, wow.
Yeah, Sunday was World AIDS Day and all of that. You know, so, I mean, you know, around this time of the year, you know, first Friday of the month, any Friday is normally busy. At the peak time for you to tell me you have only 2 tellers operating and so on, it means whoever is the supervisor, they're not planning their workload and their workflow very well. I understand everybody's trying to cut costs. The tellers, when they finish at the front, they have to go and do so many other things, you know, in the background, and they want to give people good service, and that requires taking time, etc. But let me tell you this, the banking environment is one where it is a lot more complicated than we, the people who are being served, will know about. They have to do things with a certain degree of carefulness and precision and be exact, not just so that they don't suffer loss, but so that they can meet all the security and regulatory requirements and demands that banks have to face. For example, do you know that when a bank's ATM runs out of money, it's not a simple case of they can just go and stuff it back.
They have to balance it.
They have a lot of things to do. They need security to make certain transfers.
They also have to balance the ATM first before they even agree.
Exactly. And if you see they don't use security, they're in violation of something. So it's not like bank workers themselves can go and do certain things. There are certain things it requires them to hire security. Security is very expensive because security is very dangerous. You know, the things that they face and the sophistication of criminals. I'm just telling you a few little snippets of those things as I recall them to tell you that banking is something that is very complex, and if they do not manage things well, they will be at a loss. And I think the word bankrupt, you know, you will understand it's a combination of banking and disruption, you know, or rupture. You know, it's rupturing the solidity or disrupting something. And so they want to take the rupt out of their banking and try. But it doesn't mean they're always right. But we have to understand that there's a lot of things. Now, the bank that you mentioned, there could be some unhappiness inside there, which is being reflected by the way staff behave. We've heard about industrial action at banks and a whole lot of different things. So I'm sympathetic, especially since the person who's writing that I know is a senior citizen, sort of. So, you know, you understand the frustrations and so on.
I'll tell you though, Shelton, the frustrations are understood, but coming from someone who had an 8-year, almost 9-year banking background, right? There are certain things that can be done from an operational level. I'm talking about the front line between the teller supervisors and the tellers that can make the system run more efficiently. I'll tell you what. I started off at the waterfront branch at Bank of St. Lucia, right?
Okay.
And there were times of the month, it'd be fortnightly, to get poverty reduction fund checks at the time, NCA checks, the step workers, right? They come to they collect the checks. I would just have a line as a teller, decide as I'll tell my colleagues, okay, I'm just going to take these people only. So you know what you're doing through is just one process, and you all deal with the withdrawals, the deposits, and these kind of things. So certain things can be done at that level to try to make it more efficient. It's a matter of using the initiative as a that's why you're a supervisor. That's why you're senior tellers, senior CSRs, and you will in no way be disrupting the bank's operations to an extent that you did anything egregious. You just manage the time, you manage the people, and that's how it goes. But I also understand that side, because after spending 8 years, almost 9 years in there, I hate being on the other side of a telescope. I hate having to, having to take that line. So I understand the frustrations of the public, but I also believe that there are certain things that can be done from an operational level from the front line that can make it easier for. I was at Bank of St. Lucia 2 weeks ago to cash in a check. And I saw the line, which is an express line, supposed to be for the seniors, on 50 account holders, the policemen in uniform, nurses, doctors, these people. And there were people still there waiting when I started on that long line all the way to the end, still there at that line waiting to get served and that kind of thing. So I think it can be done, at least shave off a few minutes, 10 minutes on each individual customer's time.
Okay. Folks, I don't know if Miguel has anything, but on the final day of any week, I like to, open the phone lines as quickly as possible, give people a chance to express themselves. And it makes me remember my friend Skinny, because he says, boy, sometimes when he hears me going on, he loves to hear me, but he reaches a point where he says, man, hurry up and open the something lying around, Yeah, Skinny, I know you said,
We'll do it for some chicken.
Open the no, he know what price he has to pay and so on. Oh boy, Skinny is a man, his empire and his enterprise are expanding rapidly, because I think he's providing customer satisfaction. 487-9849, 487-9849. That's the WhatsApp number that you can call us, mobile number 487-9849, and you can also reach us on the line 4533-911. Today Miguel Favre is in the house with me. Terry Fendel is busy doing his considerable other stuff that he has to do, helping with education sector as a consultant, and is a man who's always kept very busy. I can tell you, I know him from his days as principal of the Barbano Combined School. And when you got an audience, you got some time with Terry Fendel, you had to value it, because I'm telling you, his roster, his desk, his calendar, his diary was always very full with appointments. And he made time to sit with parents, to meet with people. I think that school had one of the best parent-teacher associations.
Teachers loved him.
Yeah, because
loved him.
Parents, they used to come in there, and there was always that vibrancy to the meetings and so on. And he was a man like, he never was tired, he never fainted, he enjoyed what he did, he approached it with a certain seriousness, but at the same time, in between, he would crack a joke every now and then, make you laugh, make you feel at ease, very cheerful and all of that. So, it's a man that I know a long time. I've had great admiration for him, and on the side of learning to approach life and his work and his duties very seriously, yet at the same time, being able to cause people to relax. I think that was one of the things I found very strong about him.
I think, Sheldon, even if you look at Barbono as being one of, you saw that era when new schools were built. It was Barbono, Cicero, now the John Odlum School, and Grosley, among the new schools built under the Kenny Anthony administration. And Barbono is the one that has seemed to, in terms of the academic performance, has actually outdone and exceeded those other schools built in that era. They've done well.
I knew at the time they had a top IT curriculum and so on, and people were lauding not just the curriculum, which was set by CXC and so on, but the facilities, the laboratory, and the computers and so on that they had. They were well equipped for IT in one particular area. We have a call on the line. Good afternoon, Real Issues.
Good afternoon, Shelton. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing? I'm so happy you got the line.
Good afternoon. I can't hear properly.
Low. Can you speak up a bit?
How are you guys doing?
We're doing okay.
Well. All right. Shelton, when I called you yesterday,
yes,
we got cut off by the lotto announcement.
2 o'clock came on us. Yeah.
Okay. Shelton, one of the things that I forgot to mention was. Shelton, do you recall over the years, government after government, especially Labour Party administrations, have been trying to implement this minimum wage. And every time this comes up, the Chamber of Commerce in particular, at the forefront, would come up with the usual mantra. Not at this time.
We need more consultation. They kept on.
Not now. We can't do this now.
They kept on grabbing the government's foot and forcing it to kick the can down the road, even when they didn't want to do so.
People kept asking in frustration, but when will be the right time? When will that right time come? Now is not the right time. Now is not the right time. So now, finally, this Labour Party administration has finally implemented this minimum wage. You have the usual suspects. The usual suspects coming out and talking about stuff like, we were not consulted.
But Andrew, what is the most comical one? That one of the most usual of the usual suspects come out and say that he's not supporting the minimum wage because it's not enough. They should have given more if he was there.
This is laughable. This is laughable. But but I'm telling. Look, like I said to you yesterday, I find it difficult, really difficult, to imagine that a minimum wage commission or minimum wage committee would not have put out there, listen, although we have certain stakeholders represented, including the Employers Federation, where I'm sure you have Chamber of Commerce members, I feel pretty certain that commission would not have said, look, we're seeking input, comments, concerns from all relevant stakeholders, whether you call in, whether you write, etc. I feel pretty sure that was done. So to hear now that certain people are saying from the Chamber of Commerce that they were not consulted, look, this is pretty difficult to absorb.
And I'm just saying, in all the time this process was going on, didn't we actually have a minimum wage commission office or secretariat?
Yes, we did.
Somewhere in San Souci by Trophy somewhere there.
And the draft bill was sent out for public consumption.
So much was said. You don't raise your voice, Catherine. I'm not infringing on your patent and so on right now. Catherine Silis. You didn't raise your voice at any time to say, look, this thing is going on. It's going to have major repercussions for us, and nobody's bringing us in to talk. You didn't come. I mean, this is one time where you should have stormed,
Exactly.
the Bastille,
Yes.
go,
But the other thing there, Shelton, again, I mentioned that yesterday. I don't know whether that was heard before we got cut off by the lottery. Shelton, listen. House rent in this country is pretty expensive. Let us look at a single parent family because this is what obtains in large measure here. A single parent family of say 3 or 4 people, a mother and 2 or 3 kids. Shelton, rent, you can't get decent housing, decent rent, and we're talking a 1-bedroom house with water, potable water, and toilets, for less than $500, not less than $500, and I'm talking a 1-bedroom decent house. In terms of food, Shelton, and now, boy, people are talking about eating healthy. The ministry tells you to eat healthy. Other people are saying, boy, we need to eat healthy to stay healthy. Shelton, eating healthy is an expensive proposition, very expensive proposition, and for a 3 or 4 person household, Shelton, you know how much it costs
Trust me,
per
I
month
agree.
for food. Whether we're talking groceries, whether we're talking by the market, whether we're talking meat and fish and that kind of stuff, you know how much it costs, and we're not even going to talk about
Everyday expenses.
Doctor's visits. We're not going to talk about dentist visits. We're not talking about transportation. We're not talking about saving at least $100 or $200.
And these are people who don't have medical insurance.
For wet days. We're not talking any of those things. Shelton, listen. What has been happening here in this country, and I make no apology for saying this. Quite a few employers in this country have been engaged in modern day slavery.
Of course.
In terms of the wages that were being paid to people. Modern day slavery. I mean, when you pay somebody $300, $400, $500, $600 per month, that, to my mind, is modern day slavery wages. And you want to come and talk about now how you're facing hardship, how the minimum how the minimum wage is causing you hardship, and you're not talking about, you feel no shame about the type of wages that you're paying people in this country. Shelton, I mean, when I heard the minister come out and say certain people had approached her or had written her and talk about how they were facing hardship, Shelton, I became incensed.
With good reason.
Because, quite a few businesses, like I just mentioned, were engaged in modern day slavery in terms of the wages that they were paying to people. And when we look at the cost of living here in this country, in terms of housing, in terms of food, and so on, not even this 1,000, to me, in my opinion, not even this $1,130 per month is enough.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
no
right.
problem, Andrew. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. You know, Shelton, the average St. Lucian's rent, including mine, is over the minimum wage. It's more than you're more than the minimum wage, and you count into your other expenses, your monthly expenses, your groceries. I mean, for 2 of us in the house, monthly groceries, just buying the regular things, can come to $600-700 at the supermarket. Shelton. So he's very right, and you find that these employers now are talking nonsense about they weren't consulted. I mean, you're that heartless to think that paying somebody $1,100 is too much.
I don't know, Miguel. I just find that sometimes you wonder whether the talking points which are arising, whether those talking points are coincidence. They're just arising because at the same time you're in Rush Clark. On about the Castries Health Center, and I heard him today about how there was a field hospital that was donated by the Americans that was left to waste and never utilized.
Oh, he's talking about the temporary field hospital we had over there.
Wasn't it for
Americans.
COVID? What was it?
Remember, there was something, an American medical ship visited for a few days, and they were set up at the.
Alright. And at the same time you heard Chambers saying that, and at the same time you wonder whether these things are coincidental or whether they are more coordinated and so on. We have a call on the line. Hi, good afternoon. Real Issues. Yes, hi, good afternoon.
I'm just trying to find out. Those persons that claim that they did not do this consult, isn't they don't listen to the news? Didn't they hear that the Prime Minister and the Minister of Labour did expound on the minimum wage? They need to go at one of these places and buy a television and listen to the news to know what's happening in St. Lucia. Because I find it very strange that the people are saying that they are not consulted, and I don't understand it. Why everybody's happy about it? Well, the poor people of St. Lucia have been consulted. They were consulted about that, and I mean, some of the major workplace have been consulted, and they're doing all the necessary things to mitigate that, and they're happy about it. As a matter of fact, the place that I worked, they're happy about it because the staff have their sense of gratitude in terms of how they say it's been calculated and what gets into their pocket. So I don't think that I wouldn't say some of the workplaces conveniently consider that, and we need to just let them go back. It has taken place already, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Caller, can I ask you something before you go?
Yes.
You know the history of that Chamber of Commerce? The history in terms of their utterances regarding public policy and and how selective they are depending on what party forms the government of the day. So
sorry, I didn't get you.
I said, are you aware of the history of that Chamber of Commerce and their selective outrage depending on who forms the government of the day?
Right.
So but there should be no surprise.
Let me tell you something. They're not working anymore.
But I'll tell you because
they're not working anymore.
But I'll tell you. But even I will point out the Employers Federation and from being in the media and of course being out there and very akin to knowledgeable about our politics, especially current day politics, right? That the Employers Federation headed by Azi Peter Alexander has been seen with a little side eye by Labour supporters regarding a lot of his utterances in the media before. The Employers Federation had no issue with the minimum wage. They said nothing about consultation, and to me, that was the foremost entity, the foremost union, engaged when the negotiations and the discussions by the commission were being had and the research was being done regarding the establishment of a minimum wage. So if the Employers Federation says nothing, and like Shelton said, invariably the Chamber of Commerce members are members of the Employers Federation. Why would the Chamber now come out for its president, not even the executive director, for its president now come out and say there was no consultation?
Good question. You have any answer to that, caller?
History of that from the time the Prime Minister that went into cabinet, and there was the date that it was going to be implemented. They've given people time to review. They had a committee to look into it. I heard even when I heard Mr. Guy Joseph saying that now I would not do that. I would do it. Would have been March. He didn't want it, but he now is saying that listen, it should be more common. You cannot give people 656 and tell them this is what us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
All these things, all those words were said, and now people are saying that. Some people are saying that. I found that very strange. Honestly speaking, I found it very strange.
And Johnson's is also an influential member of the chambers, of the chamber. I remember that.
And I think it has gone down smooth sailing. Before the Christmas there, I think the employers, those persons that are getting the increase, they are very happy about it, and there's nothing they can do about it. You understand it?
Of course.
The Chamber of Commerce, I think the Chamber of Commerce just have to come on board. You cannot fight the masses. just come on board. That's what it is.
Thank you, caller.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That said, Shelton, I must also reiterate the responsibility of the employees to provide a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. I mean, the government in itself has made it a little, has lightened some burden. It could be a $10 burden per day that you may have had. It's lightened it, help you ease that burden. But you have a responsibility to yourselves, to your children, to your employers foremost, to ensure that you are giving that output, you providing that output for what you are getting in.
Okay, we have another call on the line. Hi, caller. Good afternoon. Real Issues.
Good afternoon to you and your guests.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay, what I'm asking, with the minimum wage, when you work 8 hours, they're supposed to pay you $6.50, right, an hour?
Well, it depends on how your wages are calculated.
Minimum.
If you're an hourly paid, if you're a daily paid, I think it's $6.50.
$6.50,
yeah, $6.52 to be exact.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
If you have to be working 12, 15 hours, after 8 hours, the rest of the hours, how is supposed to be paid?
Nothing has changed in terms of the labor laws. You are supposed to work minimum 40 hours per week. Past that, you get paid overtime, which is a time and a half on Sundays, holidays, double time. Nothing has changed. Right. It's just that you cannot be paid. If you're making $20 an hour, right, that's fine. But the point is now nobody can make less than $6.50 an hour.
Yeah,
nothing has changed in terms of the labor laws.
True, that's what I'm saying now. Because right now I know of some security firms who does pay people. They pay you for the 8 hours, but yet still they have you working for 12, 14 hours, and they still doesn't want to pay you overtime.
Well, the overtime is if your number of hours for the week exceeds 40 hours. You understand? Yeah. In other words, a lot of people believe that if they work more than 8 hours a day, let's say they work 16 hours, so that means you work double time. That right away you due overtime, but it is at the end of a week that they will check whether the total hours you work exceeded 40, because you might work 16 hours today and you might work 8 hours tomorrow, but 0 hours, on the other days, but 4 hours on the other thing. So what they have to do is on a week, add up all the number of hours, and if you go over the 40, then overtime becomes. But sometimes when your whole week tally is made, you did not even reach the 40. You understand?
But that's also dependent as well on the type of contract and employment. Because in places, let's say the bank comes up again, for example, you have an 8 hour, your hours stipulate 7:45 till 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Basically, that's your 8 hour day. So you are entitled to your overtime once you exceed that as an hour.
Yes.
But it's also dependent on the type of contract you have, because security workers, I don't know if their contract says that they work 8 to 5 or whatever.
That's true. Because sometimes you can get a job and the contract affords you, it spells out that you are entitled to 21 working days. But if they were to go strictly according to the law, between 1 and 4 years, you are entitled to 14 days vacation.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Now you cannot come, if the contract does not explicitly spell out that they're giving you 21 or 28 days, that is a contractual thing.
Yes.
But according to the law, when you have worked from 1 year, up to 4 years, you are entitled to 14 days, 14 working days, not counting weekends and holidays. But you can negotiate a contract that says that you can get 20.
And depends on your level. And in certain
exactly.
companies,
they might consider you hire a man to be an accountant or a manager and telling them 14 days. You know, so they might want to. They don't have to. Somebody might walk away from that and so on. Okay, but we have a call on the line. Good afternoon. Real Issues. Hello.
You done with me?
Do we have that? The previous caller is there?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, sorry caller. Sorry about that. Second caller, the lady. Hold on a second. Caller, were you finished?
Yeah. No, I was not finished yet. I was asking. What I'm saying. They have certain security firms who have contracts, right? They have contracts up to 8 hours plus. If they work, the security work extra hours. The company pay them for the extra hours as overtime, but they don't pay the security the overtime.
Oh, no.
They have a lot of that. A lot of that.
Okay, just make sure that when you feel you are entitled to overtime, that you calculate the amount of hours you work for a week. You understand? And whether you work the 40 hours, because they might make you work a lot of hours today, make you work normal hours tomorrow, make you work half hours the day after, make you off or don't make you work at all on the other day, and then when you add it up, you find that you have not exceeded 40 hours. Okay, that is where overtime becomes applicable when your number of hours worked exceeds. We have another call on the line, so yeah, wrap up.
Okay, just one thing. A security working for 14 hours every day for 6 days.
Well, no,
right away.
And you have recourse. Go to the labor department if you're not unionized. That's
okay.
40. The labor code says 40 hours per week.
Right. Yeah. Because they have some security firm that just doesn't do it. They have you working 14 hours.
They've been doing that historically, Colin.
That's over 40 hours.
Okay, you need to go to the labor department or your union if you are unionized. Okay.
And they're probably inundated as well.
Okay.
Okay, my friend. We have someone else on the line. Hi, caller. Good afternoon. Sorry about that.
Hi.
Yeah, we thought the other person was off the line already.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Just letting you know about an incident that just happened outside of SMS, or your viewers, your listeners.
Wow.
Outside of SMS.
Which one?
Guys, one running chasing another with a big old knife in his hand.
Which one? Which SNS?
Which one? That was the
SMS Miko Street.
Okay.
Whoa.
I called the police. They transferred me to Central Police. Whoever answered hung up on me. How are we supposed to be helping the situation when the police station personnel hangs up on people when they call to report an incident? What are we supposed to do about that now?
Wow.
Can you tell me how it ended up as far as you know?
I don't know. Police vehicle passed. I'm hoping and wishing that somebody had called and the police that passed would take care of the incident. But I don't know if that is the case. But I called about it and got hung up on. So, do you think the next time I see somebody killing somebody, I should call the police?
You should.
You should. I will make no excuses for them. I might just think what may have happened in that situation. Maybe they had already gotten a call that something had happened.
Guess who we're getting a call from right now, and I don't want to keep there.
I don't think the person heard me properly, and she screamed, "What?"
Yes, you're live on air now. So just hold on 2 minutes for 1 second for me. Okay. Let me tell you, next time it happens, still continue being a good citizen. If you are the one, call the police. Don't become, like they say, wary in doing well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Labor Commissioner Joseph is on the line with us. Thank you for gracing us with this call, Commissioner.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. It was just brought to my attention that there may be a misinterpretation of the overtime concept as far as the 40-hour week is concerned.
Okay.
So I needed to clarify the air on that, right?
Okay.
Overtime is a daily concept, and you actually earn overtime per day.
Okay.
In the act, it says that a maximum ordinary work day is 8 hours. Sorry. So anytime you exceed those 8 hours, you move into overtime.
Even if in the end your week doesn't reach 40.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So that does not include the meal allowance, the lunch hour. Okay, it's 8 hours outside of the lunch hour.
Okay.
So if in a week, for example, you could work 36 hours in a week and still have overtime there, because on a particular day you would have exceeded 8 hours. But the 40-hour week came about because of the ordinary work day, which is 8 hours, and a normal week is supposed to be 5 days. 8 times 5 is 40. That's where that comes about.
Okay. So if a person, so basically any time a person exceeds 8 hours a day, they're entitled to overtime.
Excluding the lunch hour.
Correct.
Excluding the lunch hour. Lunch hour is not counted as part of their work time.
Correct.
Okay.
And there's a special provision made for the hospitality industry where people can work 80 hours in 2 weeks. But that again must not exceed the 8 hours a day. What that allows you to do is in week 1, you can work 48 hours, which means 6 days of 8 hours, and in the next week you can work 32. You put the two together, it would add up to 80 hours, and we would accept that.
Okay.
Knowing that on either of the days you did not exceed the 8 hours.
Okay.
Can I just ask you one question though, Mr. Joseph? This you said there was a misconception. Of course, it would stem from what I said about the 40 hours per week, because it's something that I felt that we had known for a while.
Things probably change, but so I knew that.
Right. So I was asking, is this a common misconception within the working populace in terms of complaints coming towards you regarding overtime and that kind of thing? Is it a common misconception that people believe that it should be 40, especially employers who may have, the complaint may have been against them that they may not have paid overtime? So have they all been under the perception that it's exceeding 40 hours per week is when they should pay overtime?
Okay, I can say yes, we have institutions who like that. Maybe a little less now because we've been going out to the hotels, going out to certain workplaces, making presentations. So if you throw that back, let's say in the last 2-3 years, we would say we have that problem is a smaller problem now than it used to be, but it still exists on a small scale. So when we have a situation like that, I always try to take the opportunity to clear the air.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner, let me just ask you one. That's probably the last thing. Someone works 12 hours on one day. Okay, so they have 4 hours extra that they go. They press their claim for overtime. What about when they, for some reason or the other, they work short of the 8 hours, they work 4, they work 6 and so on? Does the employer now have a right to dock their pay?
Well, it depends on the reason. So if it is a case where the employee is unable to continue, the employee, for their own reasons, they want a few hours off, then that is something by itself. The employer can decide it's paid hours or unpaid. But if it is a case of, for example, shortage of materials, the employer runs out of the raw material, then you still have to pay the employee the full day, even if they do not complete the day. So the reason for the loss of hours is key.
Okay, thank you very much. Hold on a second.
Actually, someone on the line asking, is it 40 and a half hours and not 40 hours?
At one time, I heard 37 and a half hours.
So can we clarify whether it's 40 or 40 and a half hours?
We have 40, we have 37 and a half, we have this kind of thing. What really is the number of hours per week that a worker is reasonably or lawfully expected to provide on the job and so on? Is it around 40? Is it 37 and a half? What is it? Because
Okay, so that is by mutual agreement. You and your employer can decide 35, 37 and a half. What is important is when you pass 40, you move into overtime. And another very critical thing for people to...
But hold on a second. A while ago, you told us that you don't have to pass the 40, which is the weekly roster of work and so on, that on a day you can qualify for overtime. Now you are saying once you pass 40, you qualify for overtime.
Okay, so let me correct that. What I want to say, we are assuming here that you're working an ordinary work day of 8 hours under 8 times 4. 8 times 5, sorry, which is 40.
Yeah.
So overtime remains, like I tell you from the start, a daily concept.
Okay.
Anytime you exceed the 8 hours. But I said that in the context that, we are assuming a person was working 8 hours, 5 days a week. So thanks for correcting that. I also want to make the point that if your contractual hours are 37 and a half hours or 35, this is what you agreed to. If you exceed that, you also move into overtime.
I was about to ask that question.
Not having reached the 40 hours. So these are things that are important for people to understand as well.
How dependent are these computations on the work cycle on which a person was employed? By which I mean somebody may be a daily paid worker, somebody may be a fortnightly paid worker, somebody may be a monthly paid worker. Does the work cycle that applies to your job, does it determine the computation of your overtime? So that daily, anytime you go over what the daily thing is, pass it. If it's a fortnightly, on a fortnightly basis, whatever it is, I'm just asking, does that influence how overtime is computed and remunerated?
Right. So I need to make a clear distinction here. The rate of pay and the time of pay is different.
Okay.
A person can be an hourly paid worker and receive their salary every fortnight, at the end of the month, every week. But their rate, the amount is determined by the number of hours that are put in there.
Okay.
Okay? You can be a daily paid worker and you get your salary at the end of the month. So that would change depending on how many days you put in there. If you're a monthly paid worker, no matter how many days you work for that month, you are supposed to get the same rate. So it's 500 for the month, 1,000 for the month, that's what you get.
Okay.
You with me?
Okay.
So depending on your rate of pay, that will change. But the overtime does not change. The overtime, the only time the overtime will change is if in your established contract, let's say your maximum work day is less than 8 hours. So by law, the maximum work day is 8 hours, but let us say you have a contract with the radio station you work with and it is 7 hours, that is your work day. If you work an 8-hour day, you're entitled to 1 hour compensation.
Okay.
For that day, and any other days for the month that you would have exceeded your contractual terms, hours.
All right, there's a question that just came in. If a daily paid worker doesn't come to work, does the employer have to pay the worker? Well, I think you partly answered that, where you said it depends on the reasons or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, well, two things there. That's broader when people say doesn't come to work. First, the person would have to report sick. All right, and if they report sick, they are allowed to do that 12 times for the year. 2 at most at any one time. You can do back-to-back 2, Monday, Tuesday, but if you move by the 3rd day, you are supposed to get a medical certificate. But if you do not call in, we call that a no-show. You are not entitled for payment. Okay, so you're working somewhere, you just decide it's Monday. I don't feel well, I'm not going in. I inform nobody. The employer is not obligated to pay you. But if you call in and say you are unwell, it's like a normal working day as far as payment is concerned.
All right, that's a broad category, though, because it's quite broad, because you open a can of worms there, because there are people who get paid only when they show up for the hours.
Yeah. Do you get complaints, Commissioner, that these laws and this labor code and this what you have enunciated, that they're too heavily stacked in favor of workers, and that employers have to absorb a lot of losses? I'm just saying, in your having to basically intervene in a lot of those things, is that a complaint that you that you get thrown at you a lot?
Ironically, we get it from both sides.
Okay.
If you look at the minimum wage which we just passed there, some employees are crying, hey, we have not given them anything as the minimum wage is so low. Some employers are telling you it's too high. So you have that coming from both sides, I suppose, based on who's affected.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph, Labor Commissioner. We really appreciate you, calling us, gracing us, and feel free to do that at any time. We hope to hear from you more often.
Yes, okay, all right, Mr.
All right.
Yeah.
Now,
the public service.
Now the Labor Commissioner said there's some workers who are saying that it's too little.
And some say it's too,
and some employers
say it's too much.
I know one employer who says it's too low,
Too low, yeah.
Yeah, he says no, he wants to pay more than that. You know who that employer is? His name is Alan Shasney.
Oh, really? Oh, Alan, no. I thought it was Dr. McDonald.
No, but isn't that what the man said?
Yeah, he said they want to pay more. First of all, it was affecting the businesses.
Yeah,
now it's
now it's too low. He'll pay more. Both, as I suppose, as Prime Minister, as the state's head of government, which is the manager of the largest employer maybe the state has, the public service and so on. So, and I suppose his private enterprises, he'll apply that rule there as well. So there's one employer in St. Lucia who's complaining that the minimum wage is too low. He wants to pay more.
So everyone apply to Coco Palm.
Yeah, man. So
apply to Coco Palm for a job.
On the line. Hi, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Shelton. How are you?
I am okay, especially if I know that you're applying to go and work for Alan Shasney, because he's going to
I beg your pardon?
Especially if I know you're applying to go and work for a man called Alan Shasney, because you know he's going to pay you way above minimum wage because he's not happy with what it is, right?
Did you say work for Alan Shasney?
Okay, all right. Okay, I finish with that because you sound like you're winding up for a strike on me there, So.
Oh, the man didn't want me to eat under his administration. Gail, you just Gail gave instructions, all right, that I should not work under the last administration. Ou kwa se Coco Pam yo ka employe moi.
Okay.
Gade tan onjou mate kastuyon me bougla di police gade pou moi do parlement. Moi, quand même, Shelton. It isn't that I can't shout Miguel, it's just that he's really short. I can barely see him. Good afternoon, Miguel. Shelton,
I'm not short on quips. Careful.
That's a shell. I'm
All right.
Allow me to make my contribution. The work week hours misconceptions. Mr. Joseph Squared would need to come in person so he can address that, because a lot of people are victims of this misconception that if you work 200 hours in a day, they only add up your overtime after 40 hours for the week and not the day. So those misconceptions need to be addressed effectively. The next thing, the call to the police regarding the incident outside of SNS on Nikud Street. I highly doubt, I'm not saying that the lady is wrong, but considering what obtains now with calling landlines, right, I would want to say that most likely what happened, because I made a few calls this morning and then the line was just cutting off. The call was just dropping.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely there was an incident of call dropping, and that's what she experienced. But moreover, we must not forget that Central, or what used to be Central Station, or what is supposed to be Central Station, is right across the street from, or at the intersection there of Bridge Street and Nikud Street. It's right there. All she had to do, and chances are when you're in the moment, you see things, your mind is functioning, but the police station is right across the road, you know, from where she was or where the incident took place. And the next thing, you mean Timothy Polion wants to know why Slasper fired OECC? He did not listen to the press conference where Mr. Snack said that OECC breached a number of the contract clauses.
Yeah, they were
he
not.
missed that point.
They were not
right?
meeting certain targets. Yeah,
You
That
know,
is not a
he
lie.
missed that point. But moreover, I don't know why we keep forgetting. How did OECC come into St. Lucia?
Are these not the same fellas who would negotiate a contract in Taiwan and pack their money in Panama? Are they the same fellas?
Oh.
The same Panama connection fellas.
Yeah, we need to know how they came to St. Lucia.
I'm starting meetings here, but there are things I can say.
And not only that, they were apparently paying commission on the contracts that they got to certain people in St. Lucia or something like that.
There are things I want to say, but I cannot say.
Okay, all right, so good. So, and they're breaching contract clauses like nobody business, and they should continue to get our money?
Okay.
Nah, man. What has to be done must be done for the good of the people of this country, which will now take me to, of course, you know my passion.
No,
I'm of you
it's not going
caution.
to happen. I already said so.
Okay, we need a revisit of all of the contracts signed by Alan Shastney regarding lands in this country, but most importantly, lands in the south of this country, and what the status is regarding the availability of our lands, what was done to it, and who's going to lose, what they're going to lose, and how long it's going to take us. And again, the government must do what it has to do to compulsorily acquire our lands back, or to make leases cease to exist or something. But we are demanding what's ours by the legal means, of course. I was going to say any means necessary, but I will never say that. But we need to protect what is ours, protect our land. Okay? Now, Miguel, whatever short we will have on Facebook. Bye-bye.
Finish already. It's short. It was so short it finished already.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Where is Stay Walking? We have a caller?
Do we have another caller? Hi, caller. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Real issues.
Good afternoon, Honorable Shelton. Daniel.
How are you doing, my brother? You okay?
Senator, I'm good. I'm all right. And a pleasant good afternoon to Miguel Fevrier.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Miguel, yesterday you made a statement, and let me give you your props first because I was a bit surprised. I know you're a man who's sturdy. I know you're a man who's educated. I know you're an intelligent young man. I heard a lady. In fact, I was speaking with a lady a couple of days just before you made that very statement about the Panama Canal. I mean, the lady is doing maritime studies, and she was telling me about how the water is diminishing in the Panama Canal and all the other canals, and you know how it's going to be more expensive for boats to go through. And when I heard you spoke about it yesterday, and I said, wow, that's the man I know in Miguel Fevrier. Very intelligent fellow.
It was actually someone who shared a mini documentary on Facebook. I did some more reading and looking into it, and that's when I got with the Suez Canal. The situation is basically the same with the Suez Canal.
Yes, the young lady was telling me about it. I mean, that's what she's doing, and you know, she was giving me some interesting information about the canals and boats going through and how it's going to take longer for merchants to go around all the way down south in the Antarctica,
the Pacific, in the dangerous Pacific.
And I said, wow, that is very good. So I said, let me give Miguel his props.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, I have come to like Miguel because when I first listened to Miguel some years ago, I used to have endless beams with Miguel, endless row between he and I, and the way he reports. And Miguel, you grow. And to be honest with you, you became one of the best reporters in St. Lucia, and you left the job that was not good enough before you trained anybody.
Thank you.
But let me give Miguel his blow now.
Thank you.
With the government issue, Miguel, it's not that sometimes people really want to give the government blows, you know, on things that they think they know and they know not about, you know. For example, let me give you a situation with the road, in the never-ending road. You know, there is a lot more I know on that road I do not wish to speak about. You know why? Because it's coming from an insider in the government that is a friend of mine. And the person has already told me the government can do more than that. They can do more than what's going on there.
But you're also talking to somebody who was inside there and who still has a lot more knowledge and, of course, information, who is still a little close to that project.
Okay. Because the person was telling me, let me tell you, the government can go to the source of the funding and let them know. This is our territory. This is our land. And there is something that we can do. But, you know, I don't want to go all into that. I'm just telling you how sometimes some people do know something, but because they want to protect certain people, they do not want to talk about it.
But Bernard, I will still push back on that because the rationale I gave is that, yes, it can be done, but at what cost to the country? And we talk about not only financial costs, we talk about the delays, because then you're going to have to assess the project as it is now. And assess everything.
Time is almost.
You know, you have to assess all these things, and it'll come at a cost to us, and then have to go send it out for tender again. Or even if you give a direct award, you know, we should still be against the Finance Act. You know, so it'll cost us more in the long run having to.
I wanted to say one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, there are permanent secretaries, and you know, I don't want to, but who procures contract to themselves via their family. For example, there is one who procures decorations for their own, I don't want to say if it's his or her, for their own family. And you know, I know that, Michelle, and I know who that person is. You know, sometimes we have people in government who deliberately try to mess up the government. This person is procuring all kinds of things for the ministry. I won't mention the ministry, but they are doing it, and the financing is going to the family, but it is their own business. I just wanted to highlight that. So there are things that people know, there are things that I know, and I just cannot talk about it, because if I talk about it, maybe my people will say, boy, where is that guy getting all that information? Anyway, goodbye. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Have a blessed one.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Regarding the chasing of the person with the knife, someone says, regarding the fracker in the city near S&S, the guy who was being chased ran into Central Police Station, and the assailant who tried to enter the station was arrested right in front of the station. I was there and saw the matter unfold.
Okay,
so I think it's satisfactory. At least intervention was made there, that the police, as we would say, cap him. You know?
Yeah. You know, but I wanted to say that don't mind that the Flubos now in the new iteration, they're giving me like something. They're very happy I'm out on this other side, not doing what I'm doing. You know, it's just a stupidity, and then they will attack me, but they fear me getting back into the news.
Yes. All right. That should be our final caller. Okay, we don't have a caller on the line.
Yeah, so Shelton, it's a weekend, a long weekend.
Yes.
I guess, well, there's still a week to go before Love Fest. I will not be going because for my own personal reasons, if I want to boycott, I mean, you have this very same announcers on radio every day talking about things are hard in the country, telling Flubos only send barrels for people who voted for the Night Workers Party. And now they want to have a fete with expired artists for $340. You know, in this middle of Christmas. I'm not going to support that. So those of you who will be going next week, do enjoy it. Have a good time. I'm not a country fan. I'll probably sing one or two songs in karaoke, but I'm not a country fan, so I don't expect to see me there. Love Fest is back. Those of you who have loved it, I'm not going to do a promotion, but those of you who love it, enjoy it. But then I personally will not be going just for the very fact that you're fighting what all the gains that the Philip J. Pierre company, has been making with the country, and you now going to try to exploit the same people who you see are not doing well by having a $300 party. I'll wait for Jazz in May. To the rest of you, have a wonderful weekend. Maybe or maybe not. I'll pass through next week if Terry is not there. He's taking over full time, Shelton. But that's more or less it. Don't be fooled by the nonsense you hear from Guy and Alan Chasney and the rest of them. I mean, Sarah Flood now coming with all her piousness. I think Rihanna had to put her in her place this week on Timothy's show. She's talking about the wellness center, and he had to explain that there's just a relocation because some work is being done over there. So they keep shooting themselves in the foot, and let's hope they continue shooting themselves in the foot. Maybe this time they'll use a bazooka instead of a shotgun.
All right. Thank you so very much, Miguel. I really appreciate your dropping by, and feel free, don't be a stranger. And thank you so very much, you people on the Facebook Live. I intended to come and to personally greet you, but you all know, you all are never far from my thoughts. My heart is right in the midst of you all the time. Really appreciate you keeping things going and keeping, the fire lit, burning, glowing, flaming all the time. And you are a big part of the engine, that keeps us moving forward all the time. Thanks, Jaquan, for another great job with the calls and the controls. And do enjoy the rest of your Friday, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend until we meet again from Monday until Thursday, where we close off for the year. This is Shelton Daniel signing out.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
Get more with Quartz Ready Finance. Shop with Quartz Ready Finance for your chance to win $50,000 in cash. Plus win amazing prizes every week. Fast and easy application process, quick approval, fixed monthly installments, insurance protection, convenient, apply online, affordable payments, fixed interest rates for easy budgeting. Quartz Ready Finance. Ready when you are.
The voice.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements.
The winning numbers for the midday draw of Friday, 6 December 2024 were Double Daily Grand, 8, 10, 12, 17. Big 4, 2, 0, 5, 7. Big 4 multi-X, 2X. Pick 2, 5, 0. Pick 2 multi-X, 3X. 1 off. 3, 7, 7. Lucky 3, 5, 2, 9. Lucky 3 multi-X, 2X.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back.